growing up, I was heavily involved in sports, playing football and basketball all the way through eighth grade, and then basketball from high school until a couple years ago when I turned 28 and had my son, um, and I retired. Those years taught me some of my core values, where camaraderie, where building a culture, um, where a group of people, a unit, is striving to achieve a common goal. That is the best thing for me. And first day as a teacher, that was my goal, to build a stress-free environment, a judge-free environment, where that saying "there's no such thing as a dumb question" really came to light. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that, and I still strive to continue to be better at that with my classes. Um, but I think that comes from not just following a rubric as a teacher, right? That comes from knowing our students, being relatable, understanding their backgrounds, understanding their strengths and their interests, right? So that means we have to do a little bit of groundwork before we can actually build that culture. Um, but we can't be too predictable with it as well. If we're just we're coming in our classrooms and we're in the same groups every day, we're talking to the same people every day, that can kind of get predictable. Like, it'll get boring a little bit, right? So sometimes that's just partner work. Sometimes that's getting a group of 3 or 4. Sometimes that's doing the entire discussion as a classroom, where we're keeping them guessing, where their mind is constantly thinking, but there is always that collaborative learning going on. Um, and then I think a way to keep that going is to continue to give timely feedback. The worst thing in the world for me when I was a student was doing doing an assignment, writing a paper, and having to wait a week and a half to 2 weeks to get a grade, right? Or to get any type of feedback. I want to be able, within the next couple of days, to say, we did such and such right, we did such and such wrong, this is how we can do it better, and this is what we need to continue to do to keep getting better, to keep striving in that right trajectory. And I think that creates that safe environment. I think that creates that want to participate. And that's really what we want as teachers: participation, right? That is how they learn. That is how they get better. If we can form that culture in our classrooms where everybody feels safe to participate, I think we're going in the right direction. And that is the disposition that I feel like I bring most to teaching, making everybody feel equal. But with that being said, we can't expect everybody to go at the same pace, right? We can't expect everybody to get to the same grade at the same time. That's just not realistic. People have different students, especially students at a younger age, right? We grow at such different levels. We grow at such different speeds. And that is something that I have to get better with. I was like that as a player as well in my sports, where I would kind of hold everybody to the same standard, and that's just not realistic. So that comes with knowing our students. That comes with doing our background work, like I said, where we know how to push certain students, and we know what level we want certain students at, right? All students aren't going to get to that A+ level, but sometimes getting certain students to that B- level is good work for us, right? So that was something I struggled with, especially with my students for IEPs, because they learn at such different rates, or they take in information at such different rates. And as a teacher, as a leader of a group, we cannot punish people because they take in information at a slower rate. As humans, we tend to compare others to our experiences, which is not fair. I think that as teachers, we need to judge our students, or teach our students, based off of their experience, right? How did they do in their previous grades? How did they do with their previous classes? And how have they started our class, right? I think that is how we judge that, where a student should be at the end of quarter 1, at the end of quarter 2, at the end of quarter 3, at the end of the school year, right? I think that is how we judged it. And then based off our survey and previous conversations, that classroom management is the biggest thing for me. right? Going back to creating that culture, that loving environment where, as a team, we are all comfortable because everything is a team. I mean, when we're in a group, it is team, right? So my classroom, it is a team. That is what I strive for with teaching.